What would the 1993 Formula 1 season look like if Williams were not there? South Africa hosts the season opener for the final time, and they host an F1 race for the final time too, and it ends up being a race dominated by Ayrton Senna, who wins the season opener for a pole position, with second place being taken is by Mark Blundell for Ligier, and then third place is Christian Fittipaldi. And to the person who wanted me to do 93 because they wanted a world where Minardi stood on the podium, you're welcome. Brazil is up next, and for once, Senna has a stroke look at his him race because it's the same outcome for him as he had at round 1, which is a win for pole, followed by Schumacher getting points on the board in second and Herbert doing the same in third. And with that, F1 heads on over to start the European season with the European GP at Donnington. Donnington 93 is a race that is well remembered as one with a masterful opening lap from Senna, who went on to take the win, and he still wins it here for 3 wins in a row to start his season, while Schumacher retires from pole. Herbert gets a second consecutive podium. The British crowd will be happy to see a Brit on the podium in a race in the UK, but Patrese third place means Benetton aren't leaving empty-handed at least. Imola is where the racing circus heads to next, where, while Senna fails to finish for the first time this season, the glory goes the way of Michael Schumacher, who wins from pole with the fastest lap to boot. Gonna do him good in the championship because heading into this weekend, he was 24 points off Senna's championship lead, and now he's 14 points off. Brundle's in second, while Leto takes third, and now it's off to Barcelona, where it's a return to form for Senna because he wins the pole ahead of the two Benettons, Schumacher and Patrese. And the next race is Monaco. And while he doesn't attack pole, that's Schumacher, who actually ended up retiring. Like I said in the last episode, it's Monaco in the early 90s and Senna's here. Really, the only outcome there's gonna be is the Brazilian winning, and by about a minute this time. Alesi gives Ferrari their first podium of the year, and Fittipaldi gives Minardi their second. But Senna's win means he's got a 28-point lead in the championship. 5 wins out of 6 races. He has had such a strong start to the season, while his closest challenger, Schumacher, has not had the same fortunes. So far, that is, because the tide is about to turn, because when F1 takes a quick trip across the pond to Canada, Schumacher has a perfect weekend of pole, fastest lap and race win ahead of Berger and Brundle, while Senna retires, which is good for Michael in the championship. And this starts a bit of a strong run of form for him, as in France, while it's his former teammate Brundle taking pole, Schumacher gets the win once again as Brundle settles for third, with Senna in between them for a 4-point swing in the standings, which we're going to take a better dive into now. Ayrton Senna still leads the championship on 56 points, but Michael Schumacher is closing in now, 14 points behind him on 42 points. Brundle's in third on 17, while Fittipaldi is 4th on 11. 5th, 6th and 7th is a 3-way tie on 10 points apiece for Herbert, Blundell and Berger, while the top 10 is rounded off by Leto on 9 points and Patrese on 8 and Andretti on 7. In the constructors, McLaren lead Benetton on 63 points to 50, while Ligier are on 3rd on 27. Ferrari and Minardi are tying 4th and 5th on 16 points each, with Lotus picking up 1 point behind back in 6th on 15 points. Sauber are 7th on 12 points, Lewis are 8th with 5, while 9th is where you're going to find Jordan on 2 points, Footwork and Lola are both on a single point in 10th and 11th, while Tyrrell are, well, hopeless. So we now head on into the British Grand Prix, where Schumacher's form continues as he tacks a 3rd straight win. And he does it from pole to boot to make matters better for Benetton, because it's a 1-2 as well. Patrese finishing 2nd, while the Brits do a home driver on the podium to celebrate because Herbert takes 3rd. With Senna only finishing 4th and Andretti failing to score, it means Benetton and McLaren now sit tie on 66 points in the Constructors' Championship. That 4th also means the gap closes to 7 points for drivers' standings, meaning that it is home race in Germany, Schumacher can take the championship lead. And it's another win from pole for the German for 4 wins in a row, but with Senna finishing 3rd, Blundell in between them in 2nd, it's not quite the lead of the championship, but he's so agonizingly close to it, as Senna now leads by just 1 point, 63 playing 62. The momentum really has swung these last few races in Schumacher's favour. He's really close up to Senna, but his luck has turned out eventually, and it does at the Hungarian Grand Prix, because he retires after starting on pole. And okay, not all bad though, because Senna also retires as well, so no change in the standings. It's Riccardo Patrese instead taking his first win of the year, so it'll still a gain for Benetton in the Constructors, while Berger and Warwick round off the podium in 2nd and 3rd before the grid moves over to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. And wouldn't you know it, Schumacher's right back on form with a win from pole, to match across the last 6 races what Senna did in the first 6 with 5 wins from 6 races. But it's a win with Senna in 2nd, Herbert takes 3rd, meaning the championship now swings in Michael's favour as he leads for the first time this year on 72 points, 3 ahead of the Brazilian on 69. It's off to Italy now. And let me tell you something, Jean Lacey is a man who is pretty damn well loved by the Tifosi these days. And I think there's quite a few people who see him as pretty more or less the president of the Charles Leclerc fan club, but that's completely besides the point. But here in this universe, that love for Lacey is about to go stratospheric, I swear. Because his weekend at the Italian Grand Prix, driving for Ferrari, which we all know Ferrari is basically a religion in Italy, is perfect. Pole position, fastest lap, race win. His first in F1. Not a bad first win, to be fair. At Monza for Ferrari. Can you get better, honestly? He's joined on the podium by Michael Andretti, whose father drove for Ferrari at one point, I'm fairly certain. And Karl Wendlinger is in third. Well, the top two in the title fight, it's retirement all round, so Schumacher still leads by 3 points. And as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. If you're enjoying the video, here's the list of the ones I've done in this series. There's quite a lot. As always, I'm always open to ideas for other years I could maybe take a look at. Let me know them down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, but now let's get back to it. Portugal hosts the final race of the European season, and on his McLaren debut, Mika Hakkinen, who's replacing Michael Andretti, takes pole position. It ends in retirement for him though, and sadly the same fate befalls Senna. And more unfortunately for Senna, it's Schumacher winning ahead of Lacey and Wendlinger, which gives Benetton a 32-point lead in the constructors, and with 32 points left available and Benetton having 8 wins this year, well, even if McLaren win the last 2 races, the most they'll be able to have is 7. This means that they take the constructors title 2 rounds early. Michael's win also gives him a 13-point lead heading into the penultimate race of the year in Japan. To take the title, Schumacher just needs to outscore Senna or finish within 2 points of him, and the championship is his. Senna, meanwhile, to keep it alive, really to keep it alive and have a chance in Australia, he needs to win in Japan. Qualifying goes the way of Senna to put himself in the best possible position, but points come in the race, not qualifying, and Schumacher could easily come back at him and get the win. And if Hill was here, Schumacher would have retired. However, Damon Hill is not here, so Schumacher doesn't retire this time round. We're sticking him in P3 and we're gonna be done with it. Mika Hakkinen was the driver who would finish in second in this race, and ain't no way he would be letting his future championship rival ahead, because his teammate Ayrton Senna does exactly what he needs to do, and that's win. And so that gives us a final race decider for the championship. Michael Schumacher is leading the way on 86 points, while Ayrton Senna is now on 79 points, 7 points back. To win the championship, all Schumacher needs to do is finish ahead of Senna or finish within 6 points of him, and the title will be his. But for Senna to win the championship, he has got to win the race. That is the only option for him. He needs to win in Australia, with Schumacher finishing 5th or lower. Elsewhere, Patrese is confirmed in 3rd place. He's on 33 points, but there's still a battle going on further behind, because Martin Brundle and Jean Lacey are not separated by all that much, 25 and 23 for them too. And then Blundell is right with them as well, only 2 points behind Lacey. He's on 21 points. So there's still a few positions to work out there in the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th are currently tied on 18 points. That's Johnny Herbert and Gerhard Berger. Meanwhile, the bottom part of the top 10, then only 3 points separates 9th place from 11th place, from 12th place, sorry, with Andretti sitting on 14 points, but he's not here anymore, so he could very well lose that 9th place to Karl Wendlinger, who's on 13 points, or he could lose to Christian Fittipaldi, who's on 11 points, and JJ Leto is also on 11. In the Constructors' Championship, that's already one and done. 119 for Benetton, 99 for McLaren, but the battle for 3rd rages on between Ligier, who are currently leading that battle on 44 points, with 41 points going the way of Ferrari. Not much is separating Sauber from Lotus in the battle for 5th, only 1 point between them, 24 points, playing 23, and Minardi aren't entirely out of that either, they're on 18 points. Footwork and Jordan are tied in 8th and 9th on 7 points apiece, and they're also tied with Larousse, who are also on 7 points. Meanwhile, Lola aren't even here anymore, they're on 1 point, and Tyrrell have been freaking hopeless all year. So with that, let's head to the season finale in the country, which just yesterday hosted the season opener, but to a different city. We're off to Adelaide, Australia, not Melbourne, Australia, where it's really all to play for the championship. And it's advantage Senna after qualifying because he sticks it on pole, but Schumacher's right alongside him, so again, it's all to play for between them. Senna wins, it's his title. Schumacher wins, it's his title. but an engine problem puts a kibosh on Schumacher's hopes of winning the race. But it's not all over. He came into this race in the lead, so meaning so long as Senna finishes 5th or lower, he can still be champion. But unfortunately for Schumacher, Ayrton Senna wins the race, as he did in real life, and with it, he claims the championship in what was his final season for McLaren, his final race for McLaren even. Elsewhere, Lacey finishes in 2nd and with Berger in 3rd, meaning that with Brundle finishing 4th place, it's the Frenchman coming out on top in the battle for 4th, and that 2-3 for Ferrari, meaning Ferrari beat Ligier to 3rd place. So here is your final Drivers and Constructors Championship standings. Ayrton Senna wins the championship on 89 points, only 3 points ahead of Michael Schumacher in the end, who finishes on 86. It's a big gap back to Patrese, who finishes on 34 points, you can tell, who scored all the big points this year. Meanwhile, Jean Alesi just wins out in the battle for 4th place. He finishes on 29 points, playing 28 for Martin Brundle, who rounds out the top 5. Gerhard Berger finishes in 6th place on 22 points, with 1 point gap back to Mark Blundell on 21 points. 18 points is what Johnny Herbert finishes on, while Andretti still keeps his P9 place on 14 points, and then Carl Wendlinger rounds out the top 10 on 13 points. Fittipaldi and Leto are tied on 11 points and 11th and 12th. Meanwhile, it's 7 points for Warwick, and then 6 for Hakkinen. On 5 points is where you're gonna find Barrichello, Zanardi, and Barbaza in 15th, 16th, and 17th, while 18th is Aliot on 4 points. 3 points is going the way of Eric Comaz in 19th place, sorry, not 20th place. 20th place and 21st place is where you're gonna find Irvine and Suzuki, both on 2 points. Martini's also on 2 points, and Padoa is on 1. And now for the Constructors' Championship, it's Benetton winning that on 120 points, 11 ahead of McLaren, who finished in 2nd on 109. 51 points go the way of Ferrari, they win the battle for 3rd place, 4 ahead of Ligier in the end, who finish on 47, and Sauber round out the top 5 on 24 points. Lotus are 6th on 23 points, while it's 18 points for Minardi, and 9 for Footwork in 8th place. In 9th place, that's where Jordan are on 7 points, and LaRousse are also there. They're on 7 points as well. Lola finished on 1, and Tyrrell they had nothing all year. They finished on nothing. Now for your end of season stats, we had 4 different race winners this year, with the most claimed by Senna and Schumacher, who both won 7 times. As I say, you can tell who won all the big points this year. Patrese and Alesi were the other 2 drivers to win races. They won 1 apiece. For podiums, Senna and Schumacher were joint again in taking the most with 10 each. Patrese and Herbert had 4 each. Brundle had 3. Alesi, Berger, Blundell, Wendlinger, and Fittipaldi had 2 each. And then 1 was claimed by each of Leto, Warwick, and Barrichello. And finally, pole positions, the fastest man over 1 lap in qualifying trimmed the mist often was Schumacher with 8 pole positions. 3 more than Senna, who took 5. The other 3 got taken by 1 for Alesi, 1 for Brundle, and then 1 for Hakkinen. And with that, 1993 without Williams is at an end. And I'm gonna leave it here. As always, suggestions down below for any other years. I'm always up for ideas. Oh, also, complete side note unrelated to anything in this video. How many reserve drivers do Alpine freaking need? Well, first of all, they had Aaron, then they had Colapinto, then they had Hirakawa, and now they've got Miney. How many reserve drivers does this team need? Like, at most, a team needs like 2 reserve drivers, really? You don't need 4. Why do you need a reserve for your reserve for your reserve for your reserve? But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.